One of the hardest parts about being an empathetic and capable woman isn't knowing that you need support. It's knowing what kind of support would actually help. It's like you notice something feels off and you feel stretched, heavy, foggy, restless, like the whole swirl of feelings. And then the guessing starts. Like, do I need to rest? Do I need to push through? Do I need clarity? Do I need motivation? And what I want to offer you today is this: you're not bad at supporting yourself. You're usually just responding without enough context. Most of us were taught to respond to discomfort with a single strategy: rest, push, simplify, or power through. But support isn't one size fits all. The same feeling can point to very different needs. And when the response doesn't match the state, that support feels ineffective or even frustrating. It can make you feel not seen or heard or valued when people try to do the right thing to help you. The goal isn't to do more for yourself. It is to respond accurately. Let me just say, guessing what you need is exhausting, especially when you're already low on capacity from all the things. When you guess, you might rest when what you need is clarity. You might push when what you need is containment. And you might simplify when something actually needs expression. And then when that doesn't help, it's just easy to assume that nothing works for me. I'm unfixable. But often it's not the support that's wrong, it was just mismatched. Instead of starting with, what should I do? Try starting with, what am I noticing? Not in a diagnostic way, but in a curious way. Support becomes clearer when you slow down long enough to understand the quality to the discomfort and not just the fact that it's there. I've noticed that when people say that they feel off or overwhelmed, it usually falls into a few broad categories. Sometimes you're depleted and everything feels heavy, and even small things require effort. Support here often looks like rest, nourishment, or fewer demands. Sometimes you're overstimulated, too many inputs, too much noise. Rest doesn't help, but reducing input does. Sometimes you're actually in emerging clarity. There's energy there, but it's unorganized. Support here looks like giving yourself space to sort, to write, or to name out what's true. And sometimes you're brushing up against misalignment or missing boundaries. Something feels wrong because something is off. Support here looks like honesty, limits, or choice. It's the same word, feeling overwhelmed by all the things. But there are very different needs underneath all that. I've had moments where I was sure that I needed rest, only to realize that rest wasn't actually touching the discomfort at all. What helped was clarity, like actually stepping away and like talking out my thoughts or sitting down and journaling things out. Another time I tried to motivate myself when actually what I needed was to stop absorbing so much information from the outside. Like I needed boundaries of sorts about what I was letting in. And that shift wasn't dramatic, but the relief felt immediate. Not because I fixed anything, but because I responded accurately to what my energy was needing. This is where knowing your glow becomes useful. Glow isn't about labeling yourself or finding the right state. It's about understanding the one you're actually in. When you have language for your energy, support stops being a guessing game or like a whack-a-mole situation. And when support fits, confidence and momentum tend to follow on their own. If you're struggling to know what kind of support you need, that doesn't mean you're disconnected from yourself. It usually means you haven't been given a way to understand your energy with nuance. You don't need to push harder. You don't need to fix yourself. You need context. And once you have that, the right kind of support often becomes obvious. So let this land before you start to act. If this perspective feels helpful, you're welcome to subscribe or stay with these conversations. And if learning how to read your own energy feels supportive, that's the work I do through Glow. If you've been second guessing what kind of support you need, I hope this helped you feel a little bit more grounded and a little less alone in that uncertainty. Most people aren't bad at supporting themselves, they're just missing the context. And if you don't want to keep guessing, that's where my Glow Clarity sessions can be supportive. They're a nervous system attuned space to notice what's present, to understand your energy with nuance, and figure out what kind of support actually fits right now. No pressure, no urgency, just clarity that makes your next step feel steadier. Thanks for being here. Give yourself space to let this land. And just remember, orientation before action.